So we've been made to believe that a spiritual transformation, or like a metamorphosis of our self, requires a fight. Take the hammer to the anger, chisel away the old habits, routine, force everything into a new shape and change. Spiritually change. That's backwards. That's backwards. We can think of the sun. The sun changes things. Let me correct myself. The sun doesn't change things. Because of the sun, things change. Okay, that's the key. We've got it backwards. Think of the sun with an ice cube. Does the sun fight with the ice cube and struggle with the ice cube? No. It just simply shines. Does it judge the ice cube for being cold? No. It simply still shines. Does the sun do anything except shine? Never. But with that steady, constant heat and light, that ice cube is forced to turn to water first, then to a vapor. Alchemy. If you want to change yourself from the inside spiritually, if you want to shift your spirit, your consciousness, you gotta quit trying to be the hammer. You gotta act like the sun. You gotta move from the ways of the machine, working on this dimension, the machine trying to fix the machine. There's some value in that, yeah, but that's not gonna cause a spiritual change. That's not how it works. That working on the dimension of the machine will change the machine. But today we're not talking about how to change. We're talking about how to look long enough so that the thing changes. We're learning how to look long enough until the material melts and then vaporizes. Look at this. It's important to know that you're dealing with two separate entities, you might say. You've got the machine and you've got your soul. They're different. Your personality and you've got your soul. They're different. The machine, arrows. You see the arrows on the machine? We've got thoughts, we've got reactions, we've got stress, triggers, all the stuff, all the things. All right, it's the machine. It's a closed loop. It operates on the principle of cause and effect, the law of cause and effect. It's a loop. You're not going to change it. You are stuck in the machine, and the machine cannot wake itself up. It drives itself. It's like a driverless car. Okay, think of yourself as a high-end self-driving Tesla. All right, there's sensors. There's a sensor that goes off with your kids. There's a sensor that goes off in the office. There's a sensor that goes off with your husband or your wife. And when that sensor goes off, it's programmed to do its thing. And it does it every time. When it feels criticized, it's programmed to turn left. When it feels praise, it's programmed to turn right. It's not in control of itself, it's working on automatic. Okay, that's the machine. That's the machine. That's asleep. That's the sleeping machine, okay? We're all asleep until we wake up to it. Most people think that they're the ones driving this machine. They're not. They think that they're in control of the turns. They're not. No, they are the one sitting there watching the machine execute its code. They're still not the machine. They are still their consciousness, but they're asleep to that. So they're sitting there watching this machine do its thing, execute its code, and they think they're the one driving the machine. They're not. The soul is the one that finally comes to the driver's seat, and it doesn't start by grabbing the wheel and like going on an adventure. No, it starts by sitting in the driver's seat and realizing the thing is driving itself. Ding, ding, ding. Awareness starts to set in. That moment, oh man, is it valuable. There is a moment, for me, there was a moment where I realized, oh man, I've got two entities. There's a machine that's operating itself, and I'm doing it, but yet I have this soul, witness, that senses it doing it. Oh, when you in real life, like in the kitchen, when you realize that, it is enlightening. But you have to practice. You have to try to wake up. You have to try to realize it. So remember that the machine cannot wake itself up. In other words, you won't use the mechanisms of the machine, like the behaviors, de-stressing and stuff like that. You won't use that as the soul. This is a different dimension. The machine has its dimension, and that's what you're looking at. That's what you're becoming aware of. Anything that you can become aware of, that belongs to the machine. All of your emotions, all the angers, all the triggers, all the ways that you feel, all the things that you do, all the thoughts that you have, those all belong to the machine. That's your soul that's becoming aware of all of that stuff. That's the raw materials. In alchemy, we call it the lead. You have to have that. You have to have awareness of that. You have to have some lead to work with. That's what changes. That's what transmutes into gold. The observer is something different than what's being observed. That's the key. That's what you start to realize when you identify with your soul, is that you start to realize, okay, there's these things that I'm doing and these things that I'm thinking, but I'm not that. I am not that. Oh, that's a key phrase. I said that probably thousands of times, and that's how I teach. I am not that. I am not that. I am not what I can observe. If I can observe it, I'm not that. Normally, we are identified with the machine. Normally, we say, I am angry. When you feel that, your soul has taken a back seat and it has fused with the machine again. So you've put your soul to sleep and you say, I am angry. The machine has taken over and the fire has gone out because it's been smothered by the lead. This is the lead. Imagine the chunks of dark, heavy lead. The triggers, the reactions, the stresses, the thoughts, the feelings, all the things that you can observe, that's the lead. If you identify with those things, the lead is now smothering out the fire. What is the fire? Let me explain. The fire is the sight. The fire is that sun quality that we talked about. The fire is the sight. The fire is the observation of it, the awareness of it. It's the sight. The work of alchemy begins the moment that you make a subject-object relationship with your own personality. This is the beginnings of becoming the witness. This is the witness. And the whole thing starts when you become subject and object at the same time, and you move about the world this way. This is the witness. That's your soul. That's the soul quality. Not identifying with the machine, but not ignoring it, observing it. So when you feel the thing, when you're acting in life, you don't ignore it. You don't act like you don't have the machine. Your soul is well aware. There is finally a part of you. There's finally a small, at the very beginning, it's a very small part. But there comes this realization of, there's a part of me that's not this feeling. There's a part of me that's not the thought. There's some part of me that's not doing that. That's my machine. I am not that. When you sense that separation, that's valuable. Anything that can change, any thought, any emotion, anything that you feel, any circumstance, these are your moving parts, and that is your machine. While the I, the soul, the witness, is still the center. It cannot move. It never moves. And once you find that, there is so much, can I just say, there is so much stability that comes from that. For someone who, for me, for someone who, oh my gosh, had so many moving parts. It was so chaotic. It was so chaotic. I got numb to it. I just numbed it out a long time ago, decades ago. But for someone who understands what I'm saying with that, to start to gain a sense for something inside of yourself that is not that, that's steady, and that's always there, and that's always the same. It's not a pendulum. It is always in the center. Oh, that alone will change you. So the work of alchemy is to, from the center, give your attention or your awareness, but your attention out to the machine. Look at it. Look right at it. And guess what happens when you look, you see something, and you don't turn away. You leave your attention or your awareness on that. Guess what happens? You draw a little lightning bolt. Is that a lightning bolt? Right where you look at it. If you stay on it and you don't ignore it, if you acknowledge it fully, you feel it. Maybe you speak about it, but maybe you don't. It's not about the machines speaking. It is about the truth of, if you're acknowledging it, if you really see it, if you really gave your inner sight to it. When you do that and you stay on it long enough, that is what the fire is. That's what transmutes things. That's the only way in alchemy to transmute something that's lower, we call it the lead, into something that's the higher version of that. We don't cast it out and get a new material. We don't cast out our lead and get, I don't know, copper. No, we work the lead. And that awareness, when it strikes something, and I mean, it'll strike stuff all the time. If you hold your inner gaze on it, like the sun, and you don't let it go out of that fire, that's the fire. That's the heat. That's the fire. That's what transmutes it. Man, that's hard to do when you're first starting out and when you've been doing it for a while. Take it from me. Because it's uncomfortable. That's the whole point, is that this is your machine and you're quite comfortable with the way that it drives. Even if you say it sucks for you, it's still what you're comfortable with. And to hold your awareness on all the things, even if they're not bad, even if they're good, they're just mechanical, they're just habits. It's just that you always do them and you're unaware. That's mechanical behavior. That's what you really need to become aware of. That is the deepest parts of the machine, those mechanical behaviors. When you put your awareness on those mechanical behaviors and you don't let up, every time you do it, you recognize it in yourself and you intend to recognize it in yourself. You don't want to look over it anymore. You want to see it all. That's where I was. You want to see it all. Then the thing will change. Think about the sun again. Does the sun struggle with it? Does the sun try to change the ice? No. When you see the thing, you actually don't try to change it. I know that's weird, but you actually don't. You sure don't. You also don't have to try to figure everything out about it. Get a little bit personal here, but when I started to become aware of some of the really deep stuff inside myself, last year, like the reasons for why I was so angry and the reasons why I muted myself and the reasons why all these different things. When I started becoming aware of the really hard stuff, I finally realized that this work of awareness, this work of alchemy, it's not just processing. You don't have to process through all of it. You really don't. What a relief. It's not becoming aware of it and then hashing up everything about it, everything that relates to it, trying to figure it out, in and out of it. I mean, that can be exhausting. That's exhausting. And we are exhausted because we think that spiritual transformation is a fight. It actually isn't. When I realized, there was so much hope and faith that grew in me, when I realized that the entirety of the matter was the awareness. It's not a fight of willpower versus habits. Let me repeat that. It's not a matter of willpower versus your habits. It's a matter of awareness versus unconsciousness. It's a matter of being aware or being unaware. It's a matter of being aware that the machine is driving itself or not realizing it. That's the crux of the matter. That's how you actually change. Metamorphosis like change. The caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Lead, alchemy, lead turning into gold. This is how you change the thing into something of its higher version. It's just the awareness of it. That was so encouraging for me in the beginning. Now it feels like second nature after only a year and a few months. But now it feels like second nature. Like, let me become the most aware that I possibly can of everything. Everything inside of myself. Everything outside of myself. Everything I do. Everything I feel. All my motives. All my reasons. Don't hide anything from me. Because that's what changes me. Just that. It's weird. It's like magic. It's like magic. Like, it doesn't actually matter what you do. You can yell at your kids. I need to explain something, and it might not make sense, and people might disagree with it. I don't know. But what I was taught and what I've found to be true every time is that it doesn't really matter what you do. You can yell at your kids. You can reach for the habit. But if you're doing it and you're aware that you're doing it, again, that's the key. You do it while staring right at yourself, right at your personality, doing it, the heat rises. And it does. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you do it and you stare right at it, that's fire. The awareness itself is the fire. It is the friction. And with enough friction, the thing changes.